What's up with it? How y'all doing, man? The emotional prisoner. I had done got a couple of requests to come back and do some more dialoguing, reading, conversing, just reflecting and speaking about what we done read about or what we learned about what we read. So I said I was gonna do it, and then I've been feeling like I need to do it, but not really wanting to do it. And I say, somebody asked. So if one somebody is gathering some information from the sacrifice that I make by sitting here and reading the information, then it's worth it. So to that one person, man, salute. Shout out to you I appreciate you. Because without your request, I wouldn't be here doing this right now. That's the power of one. One breeds one, which breeds one, which breeds one, which breeds one. It all starts with one. So thank you, man. Appreciate you. But the book is Emotional Prisoner by John Villegas, I believe his name. The author, what's his name? Yeah, Jose Villegas. Jose Villegas. Can y'all see that? Yeah, Jose Villegas and this black guy. I don't know if he's actually black or what, but his skin is dark like ours. He got a name like he's something else, but he got melanated skin. But in any event, I always say that information establishes our destination. Information establishes our destination. What does that mean? I know, I'm just giving it the benefit of the doubt that everybody don't know what that means. I know it's a real simply stated term, but a lot of simple things is complicated. That's what I've come to learn over the years. So just for the sake of clarity, man, allow me to say that the information the reason I say information establishes your destination, because the information that you have is what you use to make decisions. It's the information that you are using to strategize or even visualize your goals, your aspirations in life. The power of manifestation, which is taking what's in your mind and bringing it, the process of exteriorization is taking what's in your mind and making it manifest itself into reality. That's the exteriorization of a thought, taking what's in and bringing it forth. It comes from what has went in, because the information is what breeds your thoughts. That's what gives birth to your thoughts. Give birth to your thoughts. Garbage in is garbage out. If all you do is put garbage information in, all you're going to do is have things that's coming forth from that, reflecting that. That's where the term garbage in is garbage out come from. Where also the term information establishes your destination. So with that being said, man, it's been a minute since I did some reading from this book. I don't know if I'm going to read this whole chapter. It's starting on 47 and finishing up on 64. I don't know if I'm going to do that much reading. It just all depends on how I go to feeling. I'm going to probably go by 30 minutes, so whatever 30 minutes consists of, that's probably where I'm going to stop. But the name of this chapter is the easy one. The name of the book is Emotional Prisoner. I've already did a little reading from it. I think we've read like 4 chapters out here thus far. But I'm going to read this chapter, the easy one or a portion of it. And then I got to get active in the kitchen wars because I done had a couple of these boys coming for me. But I want to cook some, get something done up so I can get to moving and get on about my day. I done got up, got me a lightweight little workout in, and I'm ready. In any event, here we go, man. The easy one. The easy one is the one who's the easiest to take advantage of. If you're anything like me, then you're considered an easy one. What's an easy one? The person who puts everybody's needs first and theirs last, and thinks it's important to be nice to everybody, even if you don't like them. An easy one is the one folks call on when they need something, because 9 out of 10 times the answer will be yes. We always say yes when we really want to say no, but the fear of not being liked keeps us trapped. We put ourselves in a mental position where we think our family can't live without us. So we go through life trying to control and maintain every moment of life so that others might be comfortable. Then we become overbearing until others begin to not like us. They begin to take us for granted and we start to feel unappreciated. The feeling of being unappreciated forces us to reevaluate our lives, at which times we lie to ourselves. By saying we like to take care of ourselves. This lie lasts about a day or two because we feel guilty for taking care of ourselves while letting others fend for themselves. I'm so easy that complete strangers have taken advantage of me because I send out the message that I'm a pushover and just want to help. It doesn't matter if I'm a pushover or not. To the person receiving the messages, the results are the same. Now I want to go back because he said something that was profound that resonated with me. But he said that if you're anything like me, then you're considered an easy one. What's an easy one? The person who puts everybody's needs first and theirs last, and thinks it's important to be nice to everybody, even if you don't like them. Now that's crazy, man. But I do know people that's like that, who feel like they have to be nice to people even if they don't like them, even if that person is being rude to them. And to the person that think like that, let me just say this. Sometimes you can't be nice to people. Yeah, sometimes you can't be nice to people, no matter what the connection, no matter what the relation is to you or the relation you have to them. Sometimes being nice is not what they need because it never forces them to feel what they need to feel to evolve, to push themselves to become what they need to become, to stop being a burden or a nuisance to other people. So sometimes by not offending a person, you enabling them, you crippling them, especially when it's your kids. You know, a lot of times we take more of a friendship approach to trying to parent our kids than we do to a parenting approach to trying to develop our kids. But you can't be nice to your kids for the sake of not hurting their feelings. Because most of the time what I done observed is when you don't hurt a kid's feelings, you never stimulate their growth. You stimulate their growth by hurting their feelings. You stimulate the growth of your family by hurting their feelings. You stimulate the growth of your significant other by hurting their feelings. Because, you know, sometimes anyway, not all the times. But yeah, sometimes you have to hurting people's feelings is a must. You can't pacify other people's feelings at your expense. All right, but it was a part in here where he said that, all right, he say, we put ourselves in a mental position where we think our family can't live without us. That's a heck of a statement, man, because no matter who it is, if you stop doing for them, they'll adjust. They'll figure out a way to provide for themselves, or they'll find a way to get somebody else to do what you was doing. So don't let nobody make you feel bad about not letting them play on you. In any event, I'm going to push forward. My need to please has become a sickness until I find myself in a place of loneliness and despair. One of the things I noticed about me is that I don't like people to not like me. So I go to great lengths to be nice. There's a saying that says he's nice to a fault. It's true about me and probably you if you're an easy one. Nice people don't finish last, we finish sick. Because being nice has become a bad habit. I go months taking care of everyone's needs while neglecting my own. And sooner or later, I hit the wall. The wall is an emotional breakdown from not tending to my mental, physical, and spiritual needs. We've heard of people being hospitalized for emotional breakdowns. I'm talking about the same kind of breakdowns, but not as severe. I have what I call mini breakdowns, where I lose it for a day or two. And once I recover, I go back to doing the same things that broke me down. When I hit the wall, it always makes me look at my life honestly. And what I see is that I've been unhappy for a long time, acting like everything is all right. Being unhappy and acting like everything is all right is damn near the attribute of a man. Being unhappy and acting like everything is all right is damn near the attribute of being a man. Because at the end of the day, when a man is unhappy and he let it be known that everything all right, who do we really have that he can talk to? Who really gives a damn about a man being unhappy? Everybody say they do until it's real. See, as long as you just talking about it and it ain't really no ramifications and repercussions associated with your unhappiness, everybody got advice for you. But when your advice require people to make sacrifices for you, most of the time they gonna tell you, oh man up, be a man. It's hard being a man. Just something for us to think about. Yeah, a lot of dudes be unhappy, be miserable on the inside, but they always say, shit, it's all good, I'm all right, everything's straight. We can't be honest, man. When it ain't straight, we can't say it ain't straight. We can't say we ain't all right when we ain't all right. At the writing of this book, I've pulled back from a lot of people, including some family members, because I'm tired of being the easy one. I have to force myself to not wash dishes or cook so much, even if it bothers me. I try not to always be home when everyone gets in because I fall victim to the easy one every time. My wife and daughter went on a week trip, and while they were gone, I lived stress-free. But as soon as they came back, I started overacting. I started overeating. My wife also got sick from headaches and sinus problems as soon as she walked in the door. I think her illness came from thinking about my expectations of what I thought she should be doing, like cooking and cleaning more often. My illness came from the mental burden of taking care of them when just the day before I was stress-free. It was like being on vacation and now it's time to go back to work. The easy one usually doesn't have a life of their own. It's all an illusion based on what we do for others. We try to live off of the praise and glory of others, but deep down inside we are an empty vessel. The crack house, jailhouse, churches, and mental institutions are filled with the easy one. We are the type of people who get mad with others but hurt ourselves. We hate to confront others in situations that are making us sick. So we rely on hope and prayer. We hope and pray things will get better on their own. But that's not how life works. Hoping that things change because we are nice to others is just wishful thinking, which is a waste of time and energy. The easy one is always tired because of the physical and emotional strain of taking care of others, coupled with being unhappy and at times just sad. We can live with being unhappy for a while, but sadness will make us kill ourselves. How did I change my life from being an easy one to being a nice person who's not a wimp? We can still help others, but we must set limits, because without limits, we will always overdo for others and forget ourselves again. When we make a mental to-do list, we must put ourselves on the list and not the last. We must put ourselves on the list and not the last one. If we put ourselves last, there won't be enough energy left to meet our needs. So we put our needs on hold again. I had put my needs on hold for so long that I didn't know what I needed anymore. But I felt I needed something. I tried to meet my need for love through sex, which never works. My need for understanding was met through overeating. The first thing I had to do was to tolerate and feel the fear of confronting others and do it anyway. Confronting others, especially the ones close to us, is a scary task. I get nervous and shake, and my mind starts to play all the negative things that might happen. If I do it, if I see the results in my mind before I do it, and they are bad, I will probably not confront and stuff it. And it's the stuffing that makes me sick. So I have a choice. Get better by confronting or stay sick by stuffing. Remember, if we allow fear to keep us from speaking out because we may lose someone, we still lose someone, ourselves, by keeping quiet. The question is whether or not to save our face at the cost of our ass, or save our ass at the cost of our face. Face saving is about faking and lying to ourselves, and ass saving is about honesty. When we confront others, they will attempt to make us think we are losing our minds or are totally wrong in our view. This is where we must stay strong and committed to what we believe, or else we will soften the truth to save our face. I've had people reject and deny what I had to say as inaccurate or fussing. The problem I find with the easy one, is that when we confront someone, we go back on our word and break the commitment to take care of ourselves by taking care of others again. This type of living causes others to take what we say for granted because we don't mean what we say. I'm a person that when I'm serious, I express it in a non-serious way, not wanting to ruffle anyone's feathers. That's a whole lot of people. They try to jokingly tell you the truth and try to truthfully tell you a joke. And this is a dilemma that we have a lot of times with our kids. Because like I say, a lot of times we don't want to hurt our kids' feelings or our significant other. But like I say, sometimes hurting people's feelings, no matter who they are, is a necessary evil. What happens is that people would not respect what I say because I said it before. So I began to harbor anger and resentment against my family and friends and the world in general. If I keep treating someone nice and they are treating me like shit, then I'm sending out the wrong message, that it's all right to walk all over me. I think that saying about turning the other cheek has made my face sore. Now it's time to stop turning and start speaking up. The second thing I had to do was start being honest about how I really felt in my relationships. Most of my relationships were based on need, not honesty. So I took a lot of crap because of fear that my needs wouldn't get met. I spent 11 years people pleasing in my marriage, and now that I've worked on myself, it's hard to keep settling for less. I found out that when I changed, I began to not like the people who were close to me as I did before. Not being honest about the way things were going and letting them go that way for a long time has meant a lot of discomfort for me when I speak up. It's been an uphill battle because of the people in my life getting comfortable with the easy one and resisting the new me. So what we can take from that is, as long as you the easy one, basically meaning as long as people can push your boundaries back or walk over your boundaries, then you all right. And if you are easy one, you allow people to push your boundaries and remove your limitations. because you don't want to offend nobody. And I have a saying to that. My saying is that standards can't be compromised. You can't compromise your standards. If you do, you don't have standards. So I just had a situation kind of like that with my daughter. She wanted to get some braids put in her head. And one of my standards is I don't want my daughter wearing fake hair, because my ideology about that is teach your kids to love themselves for themselves. Teach them to love themselves as they are. You can't love yourself if you don't show yourself. So anytime you trying to pass on a standard to somebody who haven't internalized the standard, it's going to be rough roads. It's going, especially when it's kids, because everybody around them is doing it. So it's like, why I can't do it? What's wrong with it? With everybody else doing it? And us as parents, a lot of time, we don't have the tenacity to let our kids know. Just because everybody else doing it, that don't mean you gonna do it. We don't do it like everybody else. It was a time in our households where we stood on those type of principles and we had those kind of standards. But now we done been bullied into conforming. We feel like if we go against the grain, we wrong even if we right. So that's just an example of, not allowing yourself to be the easy one, setting boundaries, setting standards, and standing on them standards. Now, my daughter was agitated and upset with me, and she was applying pressure to me and had me feeling some kind of way, because people say, oh, it's just a hairstyle. But it's more than just a hairstyle. It's a battle. It's a psychological and a spiritual battle, because she wrestling and struggling with who she's going to become. And I'm trying to let her know that you can't become what everybody else is and what you think is cool. You got to be who you are, in spite of going against the grain. You don't have to do what everybody else do because you think that's what's cool. You cool. Be yourself. Learn to be able to go against the grain and be content with it. And if we don't learn that as kids, we'll never learn it. You damn sure ain't going to learn it as an adult, because you done already been conditioned into submitting, into giving in and doing what everybody else do. So if you're going to be the person that don't go with the trends, that don't conform to the norms, it has to be developed and cultivated in you early on. Because if you try to start being this type of person later in life, it's foreign to you. So the approach I take with my child is it'll be easy for her to go against the grain, because from what I see, the norm is going to be gay, exploit yourself, devalue yourself, have a good time, and don't be too serious about nothing. So if you trying to teach kids to value themselves, prepare for their future, and pass on the concept that the sacrifice is greater than the sacrifice is equivalent to the reward, meaning the greater the sacrifice, the greater the reward, then it ain't going to be easy to do that, because we got to contend with a whole lot. But just because it ain't easy, when you understand it got to be done, you got to do it. We got to do it. As parents, we don't do it enough. So yeah, I be uncomfortable and I be second guessing myself sometimes. But I'm reassured because I know right from wrong. And I know it's right to give my baby a chance to have her own identity, and not have her identity imposed and impressed upon her from people who don't even give a damn about her. Anyway, reading on. I've had to lose some and remove others out of my life, because it's easier to start with new people who don't know the old me. I've had to quit jobs as a result of being the easy one at work. I had to remember that I go to work to make money first and friends second. I went to work trying to be everybody's friend and in the end felt used and abused. You be a friend to a friend. You don't just go being a friend to people who haven't shown themselves to be a friend to you. Be a friend to a friend. If a person don't reflect what you project, you reflect what they project. The easy one at work always says yes to every assignment, but gets few raises. The awareness that I was an easy one at work was brought to light while working for Sprint PCS as a field tech. One day while riding with another field tech, we began to talk. He said our supervisor said that he always asked me to do things because I never say no. I was referred to as his go-to guy. Now, let me say this to that. If you gonna be the go-to guy in any situation, make sure that the compensation is equivalent to your sacrifices that you making to be the go-to guy. The go-to guy is supposed to be acknowledged and compensated as the MVP. If you the go-to guy and you ain't treated like the MVP, switch up. Whenever he needed something done, no matter what time of day or night, I would always say yes. At that moment, the truth of those words stabbed me in the heart like a sharp knife. It penetrated my awareness like a bright light. The truth was so bright that it hurt my mind, and at that moment, I felt abused and misused. And the reality was that it was my fault because I chose to be the easy one regardless of what needs I was trying to meet. If I volunteer for every assignment and go the extra mile and in the end am left holding the bag of emotional sacrifice, it's my choice. Accepting that I made a choice keeps me from looking for someone or something to blame. Nobody takes advantage of me without my permission because of the inside stuff, which is my spirit that is constantly making me uncomfortable with the easy one. If we keep making choices from what's happening on the inside of us, then we suffer the plight of the easy one. There must be an awareness of the voice from within that tells us to stop taking care of others and start taking care of ourselves. Staying the easy one will cause mental problems, so why keep hurting yourself? It's time to change. The third thing to break the habit of the easy one is to understand the law of mutual exchange. The law states that we give as we would receive. I think I just said that. Let me reread that sentence. The third thing to break the habits of the easy one is to understand the law of mutual exchange. The law states that we give as we would receive. The dilemma with this law for the easy one is that we give much more than we receive. I believe the easy one doesn't know how to ask for or receive what they need. We don't ask when we need something because we expect people to know we are in need, or we will say we're all right when we're not. The law states that we give as we would receive. Let's turn the law around and receive as we would give. This will be hard for a giver to receive before they give because of the habit of giving and taking care of others. And when we merge that with the teachings from the Bible on giving, it make it a struggle. Struggle if we may, but change we must, or mentally and emotionally die. There is no progress without struggle, because when we are out of balance with this law, we actually create our own problems while blaming others for them. To only give and not receive not only keeps us out of balance, but we begin to feel like a victim of life. Now, when we start to receive first before we give, it will make us feel self-centered, and the easy one doesn't want to be known as self-centered. Even if we are, I think everyone should be self-centered, not other-centered, especially the easy one. The easy one is other-centered, and self only comes to mind when we have an emotional breakdown. When I talk about the self-centered, I'm not referring to it as the world sees self-centered. The self-centered I'm speaking of is listening to the voice of guidance on the inside and acting on that guidance, which will tell us what to do in all situations. The self-centered person the world talks about is a taker, and we don't need any more of them. The world is full of takers and givers, but very few of a taker giver, which is a balanced person. We are all here to be interdependent, not dependent on each other, meaning that I need your help from time to time, but not to be a burden to you. Interdependent means we are responsible for our life, but still have to learn to live together. When we are at either end of the mutual exchange spectrum, we have become dependent, not interdependent. So let me reread that. That was a whole lot in one paragraph. We are all here to be interdependent. That's a new word on me. Interdependent. 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 Not dependent on each other, meaning that I need your help from time to time, but not to be a burden to you. Interdependent means we are responsible for our life, but we still have to learn to live together. So interdependent means we're responsible for our life, but we still have to learn to live together. When we are at either end of the mutual exchange spectrum, we have become dependent, not interdependent. You may not believe this, but takers are dependent. Takers are dependent people who need givers to stay alive. The problem with being a dependent taker is that you're wasting valuable time, and in the long run, the givers will leave and the taker is left holding the bag. Most takers, as they get older, become locked into a way of life that actually destroys them. If you're a taker, stop taking and start giving. First to yourself by learning to be responsible for your life. Man, let me reread that. If you're a taker, stop taking and start giving. How you gonna give? First to yourself by learning to be responsible for your own life. Because as time passes, suffering will increase. Now the givers are dependent too. The givers are dependent too because they have caretaker issues. They tend to take care of someone to feel good about themselves or to have a life. The givers need takers to survive because without takers, who would they take care of? The giver thinks that giving is more important than receiving and fails to realize that they both work together to create balance in one's life. Givers give more out of emotional need than love because we love to hear people say good things about us. The giver has to watch out for two personalities that drive our lives and they are the rescuer and the victim. The rescuer comes out when anyone has a need, and that includes total strangers. When we are in rescue mode, we think it's our job to solve everyone's problem. We would do it at the expense of hurting ourselves or putting ourselves into a financial hole. We don't want anyone leaving our presence without doing something to change how they feel. Yet if we look at the decision-making process, we will realize that everybody is right where they are supposed to be by choice. Now the victim comes out when the rescuer is burned out or hurting. Our cry is nobody seems to care, or why me? There's a saying that says treat people the way you want to be treated, which is crap, but we try to live up to that lie. We've never been treated the way we treat others, so we get mad at the world and cry victim. It's not the world's fault, it's mine. If I choose to be nice to everyone and give all our own away, if it were easy to stop being an easy one, there would be no need for this chapter. But it's not easy to stop being easy. I've been easy longer than I've been firm, and the old habits don't leave without a fight. Fight if I must, but the easy one way of thinking and being has to go, or I will never be free. And last but not least, the easy one must look at their lives with honesty and clarity. We must call things as they are, not how we want them to be. I realized that with all my physical success, I still didn't like myself that much. So I spent lots of money trying to feel good. Out of all the things I've changed in my life, learning to love myself has been the hardest so far. I'm not alone on this issue because most people I talk to don't like themselves either. That's a hell of a statement. And really, when you look out into the world abroad, most people don't like themselves. Most people recreate and project an aspect of themselves that's really not even them. That's why men and women have so many people that they deal with, because it makes them feel good. It gives them a false sense of happiness, to feel desired by a lot of people, to feel attractive to a lot of people, because they don't feel attractive to themselves. Happiness, attractiveness, any feeling that you want to feel don't come from outside of you. No matter what you want to be recognized as, if you don't see yourself as that, you just a dog chasing your tail. Because anybody else that causes you or stimulates you to feel it is temporary. And once they provide you with the fulfillment of feeling your desire, you need somebody else to do it. Yeah, it's a constant search, because the search that really needs to take place, you ain't even begun on, because the true search is inside of us. And anytime we searching and chasing outside of us, it's all temporary, and it'll never be fulfilling. Fulfillment comes from the inside. Happiness comes from the inside. Feeling attractive comes from the inside. Anything you desire to feel, you have to feel it. If somebody else's actions towards you is causing you to feel it, you chasing a high. Chasing a high to get by. Anyways, out of all the things I've changed in my life, learning to love myself has been the hardest so far. What does learning to love yourself look like? What does that mean? Learning to love yourself. How do you learn to love yourself? How do we learn to love ourselves? What is loving ourselves? A lot of us think we love ourselves and we don't. Let me just throw some questions out there. Mr. and Mrs. Loving Ourselves. How do you nourish your body? Surely if you love yourself, you understand that the first act of love is to sustain yourself. And what you put into your body as well as your mind determines how far and where you go. So you ask yourself, do you love yourself? If you sneaking and doing drugs, staying high all day, eating a bunch of destructive, damaging food, not hydrating your body, not stimulating your mind, your spirit, not developing your emotions, not developing your body to persevere its balance as we age, do you really love yourself? What does loving yourself look like? Anyway, let me go on and wrap this up. I'm not alone on this issue because most people I talk to don't like themselves either. So the world is full of self-haters. We try to cover it up by being physically successful, but that only works when we are with others. The world and emptiness returns when we are alone with ourselves. We are all dressed up garbage cans, so full of crap that it smells in other areas of our lives. Then we have kids and they become trash collectors. Ooh, Ooh, man, we are all dressed up garbage cans, so full of crap that it smells in other areas of our lives. Then we have kids and they become trash collectors, collecting all of our mental and emotional problems, and the cycle continues. Man, hold up. I'm almost finished with this chapter. I only got about 3 pages, but I think I'm going to leave that right there, man. I think I'm going to leave it right there. No, I got to finish this here, man. Today, it's about breaking mental and emotional cycles so that we can stop the madness. The easy one must be dealt with at all costs if we expect to free ourselves from the prison of the mind. Anger. Repressed anger is the #1 cause of stress in our lives. Stress is the #1 cause of body illness, diseases of our body. Anyway, and stress produces all types of addictive behavior, trying to be relieved. The word repress means to hold back. Anger means a feeling of great displeasure, hostility, indignation, of great displeasure that we hold back or stuff deep within. I'm a stuffer, so my anger is always repressed and is only let out through overusing sex, food, shopping, gossiping, etc. Man, let me run that back. I'm a stuffer, so my anger is always repressed and is only let out through overusing sex, food, shopping, and gossiping. Could that be why our people are so sexually active? It's a lot of suppressed and repressed emotions that's being expressed by way of sexualizing ourselves, overly consuming food, shopping, dressing up in all of these costumes. Anyway, as a young boy, I wasn't allowed to show my displeasure or anger. So when it came out as an adult, it was of such magnitude and force that it scared me. That caused me to try and keep it locked up for life through suppression, but no one can lock anger up. It has a key to the door of our mind and comes out without regard for others. Repressed anger will drain you of all the energy of life until we become the walking dead. It's important to start to express your displeasure with others about the way they are treating you. When I started expressing my anger with others, it felt physically uncomfortable. But after it was over, I mentally felt great. I had to stop trying to control how it came out and just let it rip. Now, there must not be any physical violence because it would only make things worse. And it still doesn't solve the problem. If you are a violent type of person, it's important to get help first before you pursue expressing anger to others. When I say let it rip, I'm talking about saying what you feel. And if there is a need to say you're sorry later, then do it. I started expressing my repressed anger with my family and friends, and they didn't like me as much, but I loved me more. When we don't express how we feel, it turns into people pleasing, which makes others like us, but we begin to not like ourselves. Self-hatred is like a fire in your own house, and you're not trying to get out. Another benefit of expressing my anger was my decline in self-destructive behavior. I don't destroy myself as much because I don't have a lot of pent-up negative energy to be released. All of my life, I was taught to repress, not express my displeasure, so it turned into resentments. Resentment is anger that has been repressed, which marinates in our mind for an extended period of time until it becomes pain. The pain not confronted becomes mental and emotional illness and hatred for others that we resent. How do we express and not repress our anger? There must be a willingness to take a risk of losing others in order to be free. We must not let the fear of someone packing their bags and leaving or not being a friend anymore keep us locked into this cycle of pain. It's very scary for most of us to confront, so we keep quiet, but we fail to see the futility of our own lives because of not speaking out. Start with some smaller displeasures, such as not keeping the house clean, or washing the tub, or cleaning up after themselves. And as you gain strength from those expressions, go on to the bigger ones, like being unhappily married, or friends who only call with their problems and you listening when you should be honest with them about themselves. But you can't be honest with them about themselves until you get honest with you about yourself. So let's stop repressing and start expressing, and watch how much your internal life gets better. There's a place in our lives for anger, because if we didn't get angry about something, how would change be possible? The problem comes from years of suppression until it becomes feared. One word of warning about expressing your displeasure, and that is that your physical life will probably suffer more. Your physical life will probably suffer a moment because of the wrath of others, but that's the price of freedom. To not risk it all to be free is choosing to stay mentally in jail. The price may seem high at times, but the reward is out of this world. And that does that, man. I actually read the whole chapter. I kind of rushed through it, I think, but I did stop and expound on some points. And I think that that's a overlooked crisis, especially in our community. Being the easy one, feeling like people who we care about and love can't make it without us. Don't be a victim to that feeling. We not what we feel. We feel what we feel, but we not our feelings, and our feelings don't define and identify who we are. With that being said, man, this was a reading from Emotional Prisoner. And it was chapter 5, the easy one. Chapter 6 is it a relationship or shit? Is it a relationship or shit? Ships sail. Anything that's selling is traveling, so it's moving through and towards. And I'm gonna leave that at that. I'm gonna get prepared to crank up these kitchen wars. Peace out, man. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me, sharing 45 minutes of y'all time with me. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's dialogue so we can start doing some of these readings live, man.